Guys, welcome back to the Wemaxit football channel. I'm here with my co-hosts, Africans, and we are going to be discussing at least two topics today, and then we will come, depending on how you guys received these videos. So the first topic that we're going to talk about, obviously, it's the Concacaf because that's where our channels were based around. The Concacaf teams have actually played a few games in the World Cup, so we want to ask that broad general question to ask if have we really improved? Let me know in the comment section and leave and smash a like button at the same time, share and subscribe. So bringing my co-host Africans, have we actually improved, my brother, based on what you saw?
I think there's moments of growth and moments of promise we saw there. If you look at the results themselves, I mean, three out of the four teams won games. You could argue three of the four of the teams all played games where they were competitively playing in those games. Canada, we being the one nation who didn't get any result at all. Again, depending on how you want to look at it, we either participated in the World Cup or we had a strong showing. Either way, I do think that we did see a lot from it, but there's also the caveat of where those teams were, right? Costa Rica was able to get a result against Japan, which was great for them, but you know that team's going to be in transition, right? Mexico also in transition, getting a result, getting a draw and a win in that World Cup. And then Canada, the U.S., I mean, we'll talk about them last, but Canada played, I think, better than a lot of people expected versus Belgium, but then that kind of turned into the theme for Canada at the World Cup, which was on the pitch, so proud, a lot of moral victories, shall we say, but no actual victories. So on the pitch, they definitely did improve. They got more results. I think if you look at it in the totality, I think the region took a decent step. I wouldn't say a positive, hearty step, but they took a decent step in terms of being able to play with some of the teams that were there. So I do think we have improved. I don't know if all the metrics will show it, but I think as a region, we have improved for the CONCACAF region. What about you? What do you say on that?
Based off what I saw, obviously I spoke to Pete and others.
Mhm.
They're not really saying much because obviously you have Mexico in,
Yeah.
so they're gonna give it to Mexico because Mexico never got out of the group stage.
Hmm.
I want to say, yes, I do believe that they have actually improved based on what I saw, and resilience is one of the big things I have to put out there because I saw a team in Costa Rica actually struggled in the first half and sitting a very tough spot to qualify. They wanted at least the last seven results, and they went out there and got all of that. And after qualifying, the very very tough way, um, they went into the World Cup and got a baptism from the Spanish team, right? And
Hmm.
from that, they put it together, went out there and literally gave Japan a lost on their record and put
Hmm.
themselves in a promising position for the last game. Came out were very organized and show some signs and in Aguilera started early. He showed some signs. There you have Musiala on the opposite end, and at one point he was actually putting in good balls compared to Musiala, and Musiala would be considered as one of the top level players. All right, so
Hmm.
his drive movements and everything looked okay, and he's passing people at a higher level. So I want to say that yes, I do think that they have improved. Yes, at the end of the day, they lost the game and I never really qualified out of the group. But
Hmm.
they put something out there to show that, listen to me, you're not going to walk over a CONCACAF team, and we are rapidly improving. And with the combination of what I saw in under 20s, I do believe that you have a good crop to come and balance the CONCACAF region to make it even exceptionally better to compete with
Hmm.
majority of the other lower tier regions and even these bigger tier regions when competition is at its utmost best due to the fact that pressure. You understand me? So that's what
Yeah.
you saw from Costa Rica. So I would say yes,
Hmm.
there. All right. So I would agree. Yes, it has improved. All right. So on the flippant side now, based on how I detailed Costa Rica, we have watched all of them, Canada, United States, Mexico, Costa Rica. Who would you
Hmm.
put down as the marker to say it would consider as the best performer?
Well, I mean, if we're looking for best performer, I mean, the easy answer is pick the team that actually got out of their group. So give it to the U.S. I mean, that's the easy answer from that
Hmm.
aspect, and I think I'll stick with that just from the standpoint. I mean, I still have questions about that team with the roster makeup and the actual manager that's there. I don't think they have the right manager for the roster that they have. But for what they were able to do at the World Cup, they had one of all the Concacaf teams had great moments, right? They didn't all necessarily translate to wins, but they all had great moments. But I think the U.S. right now, for where they are, I'm just looking at the youth of the team, what they were able to do. Yes, they lost 3-1 to the Netherlands in the round of 16, but in their group stage, they played, I think, the best I've seen them play in some time, especially that Wales game. That was the best I'd seen that team play probably in a long time against a team not named Grenada. So I think in that sense, you look at it, and so for me, I think they were the standards there. When it comes to Mexico, a bit in the transition. So I still kind of felt as if there's maybe more to that team than we're seeing. Some players being left off the roster who probably maybe could have given them a little bit more life based off what was there. Mexico performed to what I think I expected them. I think they were a little bit undone in terms of getting results. They weren't able to get those final third balls in. So from that aspect, it really lacked. And then Costa Rica and and Canada. I mean, Costa Rica, for a moment, they were going to give us chaos when they went up 2-1 on Germany. And
Hmm.
we would we would have enjoyed that. Let's not pretend we would have enjoyed that. And then Germany decided they would start playing again. But within that, Costa Rica showed that again they had the experience, they had the medal to come through. And then Canada against Belgium, I don't think any Canadian would have dreamt up a better play that they had. All they could have asked for was just the goal, and they weren't able to convert that. And then against Croatia, a better starts, and then the rest of the game happened. And then against Morocco, just moments where they slipped, and those were the moments that gave away the game. So I think right now the U.S. is, for me, the best team representing CONCACAF here, just by how they played. I think the question will be when you look forward, can they keep that level of consistency? I mean, you play a certain way versus certain teams, right? Is Canada always going to play that offensively attacking, or are they going to revert back to their shell and defending and countering like they did in CONCACAF? Same thing for the U.S., and then the same thing for Mexico as well. I think the matchups presented them opportunities to do things and maybe to catch teams by surprise. But now that's on tape. Everyone knows you're capable of doing that if you didn't do that already. So now, can you maintain that level of consistency? And I think that's where it's going to be the interesting thing to watch these teams as we get head into 2023.
All right. So for me, best performer. It was very close, you know. I, as I've said before, because obviously, you have Pete out there complaining, telling me, oh, um, United States had um they progressed from out of their group. That's one, and
Mhm.
Canada, Mexico struggled with a Polish team, and then got dominated by Argentina, and then defeated a Saudi Arabia team. But based on what I saw, I want to say that I would still give United States first, but it's marginal. I think the
Mhm.
Mexican team showed different signs there. I thought that if the Mexican team were actually in the United States soon, they would have actually qualified, if not first, based
Mhm.
on what I saw some doggish, bullish behavior from them. They have some players that I want to give extreme respect to. Even though they have some older players that will be pushed out, I do believe that their future is up there. So United States got the first position. Mexico got the second. Costa Rica. So based on what I said, Costa Rica and Canada, because of the first result, Costa Rica never really cement the third spot, but
Mhm.
I would still give it to them just off that, and the same at the top. So I would say United States by a little margin, and Mexico right there, Costa Rica by a little margin, and Canada right there,
Mhm.
because Canada never picked up the points, but they put in the performances that you can give respect. The second half for
Mhm.
Morocco, obviously Morocco was actually leading, so people would say that Morocco naturally drops off, but they still showcase that, okay, we're not going to sit down and get a back-to-back run over. You
Mhm.
understand? We're gonna show that we are here to not just participate but do something.
Mhm.
And I like that from them. So yeah, I would go in the same order as the United States, Mexico, and Costa Rica, with Canada at the bottom, but
Mhm.
not necessarily the bottom based off performances and stuff.
Yeah,
You know.
and that's fair because I know one of the arguments. If you look at the final four teams of the World Cup, two of those teams were in Canada's group, right?
Hmm.
Croatia, Morocco, and then you had Belgium, which probably didn't look as what we thought Belgium would look like. So from the
Hmm.
Canadian perspective, you're looking at it and saying, well, we had two semifinalists in our group. What do you expect us to do? And like, I do understand that point, and I don't disagree with it. But then I also have to look at the totality of the game, right? I can look at what my opponents did, but what did I do when I played those opponents, right? And I think in those games, it was just a lot of opportunities that we weren't able to convert. I know the Belgium game will always be. We'll talk about the Davies penalty miss, but to me, there were many more opportunities and chances to score that they didn't convert, and that was a troublesome aspect. They had the run up, they had decent runs, they had good balls in, but they weren't able to put them past the goalkeepers. They weren't able to convert. So it's tough. I understand the Canadian perspective. By no means by saying that they were the fourth best in CONCACAF does that mean I think that this team is terrible. No, I still rate
Hmm.
this team very well, but at the end of the day, you're judged. You're not judged by performances. You're judged by results. And Canada had great performances, great performances, but had no results to show for it. So in that, you have to keep that in mind in terms of judging and evaluating them as well.
All right. So let me end off this one.